We have this amazing body, and when we use it, things are going to wear out and break down if things are out of balance. Just like if you have a well-tuned car, you can still get a flat tire. So once we teach people these principles, not only do healthy people get healthier, but unwell people see results and get healthier than they ever were before, because now they're doing things that actually promote their health and well-being. Where the compound effect applies is the breathing. So if we could improve somebody's awareness around their breath by 10%, that's going to create massive ripples in other areas of their health, because our breath isn't just responsible for keeping us alive.
Sachin, it's been a pleasure meeting you today. We're gonna start briefly with a small intro, and then we're gonna go for about 30 minutes. We're gonna make a short, powerful interview. I have a couple of questions ready for you, and super excited to have the time, the space, and the energy for this to happen. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Astro. Happy New Year to you. And I'm really thrilled for this opportunity to share with your community.
Awesome. So Zen Talks, this is the first Zen Talk in 2025 and almost over a year. I'm joined today by Sachin Patel. He is a master in personal health journey, functional medicine. He started out as a chiropractor, but then quickly built his own agency and his own company, and he's quickly gotten success. I found him in Genius Network as a sponsor. You've created functional medicine and self-empowerment movements and initiatives like 30 in 30 program. And you want, one of your core aspects from my research is that you want each individual to become their own doctor, in a sense. So it's becoming, and it's shifting this health paradigm that health is outside and in the pills and everything, but it's actually inside with daily care and daily habits that each of us can do easily, and with a couple of things and couple of changes, not like drastic changes that you have to do. So super grateful for that. Also, you founded Living Proof Institute and its patient-centered approach. And with that, I'd love for you to share a little bit more if I was missing some of the aspects, but grateful to have you, Seth. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Thank you, Astro. I'm very well. Thank you for asking. One thing I'll say, just to maybe course correct and be more in alignment, is I would not call myself a master. I would call myself a student, because I'm always learning and I'm always sharing and I'm always trying to pay it forward. And I think mastery is a constant pursuit. So I'll let you know when I get there, but for now I'm still a student, and certainly to some it might feel like I'm at mastery, but I know there's so much more for me to learn, so much more for me to share. And I continue to climb and learn and share and serve as much as I can every single day. And I think the true master is forever a student. So I don't know if I'll ever call myself a master, but for now I'm happy as being a student. And that's kind of been my journey. Started off as a chiropractor. That's where my formal training is. So I have this deeply ingrained belief and witnessing of the power of the body to heal itself when we remove interference. And it used to be that interference used to be, injuries, right? We have this amazing body, and when we use it, things are going to wear out and break down if things are out of balance. Just like if you have a well-tuned car, you can still get a flat tire. You can still, get into an accident if the roads are not favorable. So there's a variety of reasons why people would see a chiropractor, but we never fixed anyone. All I ever did was remove the interference. And now we have interference in so many areas of our life. We have emotional interference. We have cellular interference. We have non-native EMF interfering with our biology. We have toxins and pollutants that are interfering. So there's so many things that we have to work on removing, and sometimes getting the structural imbalances realigned doesn't always make that person feel like they're fully healthy and at their fullest potential, because, just like a car, if the car is well tuned, you still have to put the right fuel in it. You still have to drive in the right conditions, right? You still have to follow the rules of the road. And so there's all these other nuances that are involved in being healthy. And so I started learning about functional medicine through my own personal health journey. Had chronic digestive issues, chronic acne, chronic fatigue. I would wake up stiff and achy every morning. In fact, I still remember when I woke up in the morning, I would never be able to squeeze my hand and make a fist, because it would be so uncomfortable and painful. And I just assumed everyone was like that. Mm-hmm. And I assumed that everyone woke up and felt stiff and achy because you were sleeping all night, and it would take me a few minutes to get going. And it turns out that it was something inflammatory that I was eating, gluten and dairy, that were causing many of these issues for me. And then I started learning more about functional lab testing, going deeper with my clients, and realized that many people are suffering. And many of them have normalized their suffering. And unfortunately, they suffer in silence, which is the worst way to suffer when we can't really get, because we can never really ask or get the help that we need if nobody knows we're struggling. That led me to becoming a functional medicine practitioner, which then led me down this rabbit hole of health being and getting really complicated. Because as functional medicine practitioners listening to this might know, there's 1,000 different tests you can run on someone. There's 1,000 different supplements you can give someone, and infinite, basically, possibilities of what that entails, right, to correct that person's health. And so that got very complicated very quickly. And then I realized that that is not the solution. That's not the solution that's scalable. That's not the solution that people want. That's not the solution that actually produces the best and fastest results. So I became obsessed with the quest of simplicity. How do I simplify this process so that it can scale, which means we can help more people? How do I then create a system, so, systemize it so that it's predictable in the outcomes that it generates? And what I realized is that there are some very key factors when it comes to health creation, and that's distinct from disease prevention, right? So we don't prevent diseases, we create health, and healthy people don't have diseases, whereas the opposite may not be true. And what we fear, so what we try to prevent, we actually facilitate. So if I constantly wake up every day saying that I'm trying to prevent cancer, I'm trying to prevent heart disease, I'm trying to prevent diabetes, the thing you try to prevent the most, the words that you use the most, you give energy to. So you're actually creating those things without realizing it. Just like you would never say, if you and I were going to, meet on this link, for example, to do this interview, you gave me the exact link to come to, right? You didn't tell me all the places not to go on the internet, which is infinite, right? And then eventually I find myself here. No, you gave me a very specific directive. So health is the same way. If we focus on creating health, then our focus becomes singular. And then every moment of every day provides an opportunity to ask ourselves, is this promoting my health? So for example, even these glasses I'm wearing, right? I could wear them or not wear them, but when I'm in front of a computer screen, I like to wear glasses because now passively I'm shielding myself and protecting myself and also optimizing myself at the same time. So we have to learn how to live with our environment. We have to learn how to interact and engage with it, but we first have to understand where these imbalances start. So with us, we don't just focus on diet and exercise and nutrition, which are very important. What's important for people to understand is that there's a lot of things you can test, but the most important things in your life that are deterministic in your health, you can't test. Let me explain. So I can't tell from a lab test what time you went to bed last night. I can't tell from a lab test how much you love your job. I can't tell from a lab test how much you and your spouse or significant other or parents love or hate each other. I can't tell how you breathe, if you're mouth breathing or nasal breathing. I can't tell if you snore, right? I can't tell whether you're chewing your food properly or not. I can't tell if you're spending time in nature. I can't tell if you're connected to source, your creator, right? So a lot of things, all lab testing is missed. And so the key factors that are important for health creation are not tested because your doctor's not looking for health, your doctor is looking for disease. So we always find what we're looking for. And when people don't have, pathological health numbers, when their numbers are normal, but they feel like crap, then they get even more frustrated because now their doctor can't help them. So they're somewhere in between healthy and in a disease state, and you have to have a significant breakdown in your cellular biology in order for things to show up on your doctor's abnormal levels. And who makes up those numbers anyways, right? That number didn't fall from the sky. It's all made up. So somebody could feel terrible. Their lab work is normal, sometimes even better than the doctor's, which is another conversation. And the doctor says everything's fine. And the person says, well, I don't feel fine, right? And the reason is because they're somewhere along the spectrum. And along that spectrum, the body is constantly, trying to steer us towards health, but we have to assist it, right? So we have to know what those things are that we can do to help the body move in the right direction. And once you realize it's only about a dozen things, and if you do those things correctly, you will have health beyond your imaginations. You will not be normal to where you were before, right? Because a lot of things that we teach people, they never learned in their entire lifetime. So even when they thought they were healthy, they weren't doing these things. So they were never actually as healthy as they could be because they weren't even doing the fundamentals of what it means to be healthy. So once we teach people these principles, not only do healthy people get healthier, but unwell people see results and get healthier than they ever were before because now they're doing things that actually promote their health and well-being. So that's a little bit about what we do. And one of the other things that I do is I facilitate breathwork. So I became a keynote speaker on breathing and breathwork, and I also facilitate breathwork for online and in-person communities for transformational purposes. So always learning new things, always applying them on myself first. That's why our company's called Living Proof, because it starts with me, starts with my wife, and then it spirals outward from there. So we're living an experiment, living a dream and living an experiment at the same time, and trying to abide by the laws of nature as best as we can and live in this material world, right? I think there's more to us than the material body, but we're here now in this physical body. So we try to develop the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical body in ourselves and, teach what we learn to our clients so that they can experience the love, the joy, the health, the wellness, the creativity, and the abundance that we experience ourselves.
Bomb drop there. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, and I feel your health, if I can actually just share it in that way. And you said a couple of powerful things. It's we measure disease, we never measure how healthy you can become or how healthy you are. And that goes back into the conversation of, again, we are all our own self-doctors in a way, because we know when are we going to sleep. We know when are we doing the things correctly every single day. And most people live in that gray area because there are people in a lot of disease, and there are people that are super athletes that measure every single thing that they do. But the rest of the people live in the middle, even myself, that I sometimes forget even to go to just do grounding. So how can we become aware of that in our daily moments with all the things coming up and all the distractions if we're not feeling a pain or if we're not feeling something that's damaging to us? How can we remind us to get back to that health practice? What have you seen that works for people?
Yeah, so I'll say this statement because I think it will land for a lot of people, especially those that are entrepreneurs, those that are parents, those that are, companions. And that is that you can never run a 10 out of 10 business with 6 out of 10 health. You can't be a 10 out of 10 dad with 7 out of 10 health. You can't be a 9 out of 10, husband with 6 out of 10 health, right? So we don't have to be perfect, but there's always more potential for us to reach for it. And our health is both the foundation and the ceiling of our capabilities. So you're only as creative as you are healthy, right? You're only as loving as you love yourself. You're only as utilitarian as you are taking care of yourself, right? So the health is just something that we have to understand is foundational for us to fully express who we are, right? And as far as I know, we get one life. Some people say we get infinite lives until we, kind of resolve our karma. And, people say that, we have this one chance at life. So why not experience it fully? And one other thing for people to understand is that human being is driven by two things. We're driven by pain or we're driven by aspiration. And so we get to decide what we want to drive us, right? So we can wait until somebody can wait until they get cancer and they decide they want to be healthy. But what they have to realize is that when, cancer may not be the best example because there's so many confounding factors, but let's say diabetes, right? A little bit more controllable and manageable for people. So if somebody has diabetes and they come and find me and we fix them up and get them right, the problem with that is that they modeled that behavior, they modeled that diet, they modeled that thinking to their children, right? So they taught their children how to be sick because our children pay attention to what we're eating and how we're speaking to ourselves and the environment that they grew up in. And so if their children stay the course, they're going to develop that same problem. So sometimes we tell people, don't do it for yourself, do it for your kids. And naturally, if you do it for your kids, the behaviors that you model will make you healthy and your entire family healthy. So sometimes it's about making something that we might perceive as more important than ourselves. And so another way to look at this is you don't see, for example, when somebody gets married, right? And if you do nice things for your spouse, you're not doing them because you're trying to prevent a divorce.
Yeah, again.
Right? You do them because you're trying to build a relationship. When you present a business plan, it's a growth plan, not a bankruptcy prevention plan. So why is it that when it's like, we almost like study for the test after we fail?
Ooh, yeah.
And instead, why not just start from the very beginning, right? So if you're listening to this and you have young kids, they listen to and watch and pay attention to not the things that you say, but the things that you do. And so, I believe that if we can be role models for those around us, and we can be the fullest expression of ourselves, that's the greatest gift that we can give to humanity, is the highest expression of ourselves. It's not our money, it's not our resources, right? It's not Bitcoin, it's not the things that people think it is. It's really the greatest gift that you can give to humanity is the highest expression of yourself. And I don't know how to do that without being healthy.
Yes.
So if we want to share our gifts, then health is that foundation. And the way I look at it, Astro, a good visual example for people, I believe nature has figured out many of the problems, the solutions for the problems we have, and nature already has solutions for problems we haven't even invented yet, right? Most of the problems we have today are a function of human creation, right? Nature hasn't created any problems for us. All the pollution, right? The non-native EMF, the toxic lighting, the toxic food, these are all because man is interfering with nature.
Yeah.
So if we go to the highest source of intelligence, we can witness and we can see fully, right? Nature doesn't hide anything. It's there for us to see and experience and witness. Then I believe trees have a lot to teach us. And one of the things that trees can teach us is that if you want to grow all the branches of a tree, you grow the roots and the trunk first. Mm-hmm. And what most people do is they try to grow one branch in their life really big. Usually it's the financial branch, right? That's the one that everyone's chasing after because we're so materialistically inclined. And I understand you have to pay your bills and eat food and who doesn't want nice things? I get that. But I think as a society, we've become obsessed with that. And so our health oftentimes suffers because of that. And so we try to grow this one branch really big, but no branch can grow bigger than the trunk. And if we want to grow all the branches in our lives, then we have to grow the roots and grow the trunk first, and everything gets better. So health is really that root structure and the trunk of the tree. And if we grow that, then everything becomes better. Our emotional health, our spiritual health, our physical health, our financial health, our relationship health, our contribution health, every area of our life becomes simultaneously and instantaneously better when our health improves.
Yes. And as you see, it's the foundation to build it all. And I really like that you said there's always more levels to whatever you're doing in life. And yeah, we've gone through the stage where, yes, it's only for the money, because right now people who are just trying to do for the money will burn out, and then all the money that they earned will have to pay for their health. So it really makes sense for you to try to get everything when it comes to the money if you're disregarding your own health. So that's really, really powerful. I also heard you say something about the example of your children, but what about them as their own example? Have you seen this sort of evolution from your own home and then spreading into the generations of the future through your own kids? How has that been? How have you witnessed that?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that question. So I have a 14-year-old son, and he's my greatest teacher. He teaches me something new every day, and it's usually something about myself, how to be more patient, how to be more compassionate, how to be more empathetic, how to listen better, how to communicate better. So I'm learning through him because of him, and he's improving me. So, our souls we're all born at the same time, right? We're all the same age in a spiritual sense, right? Just like all the water in the ocean is the same age. We're just waves of the ocean expressing ourselves, and we'll return back to where we came from. So life is short and brief. And I would say that for my son, the gift that we've given him, I believe the greatest gift that we've given him, far beyond, his education and his clothing and, all that stuff, is we've fed him healthy from day one. We've modeled healthy from day one. We've spoken to him like an intelligent human being from day one. So we didn't goo-goo and gaga him, right? We treated him like a fully grown adult in many ways, right, in terms of how we communicated with him. And it's been such a wonderful blessing to watch him grow up, to be such a kind, compassionate, caring person. He's not perfect, neither am I. I don't think you would say you're perfect either. So we all have our nuances and we all have our moments. But I would say he's just a wonderful child and a wonderful human being, and growing up to be a beautiful human being. And one of the things that I'll say is, fortunately, his health has been exceptional. He's only missed like 2 or 3 days of school and the whole time he's been going to school. So he's in grade 9 now. So in 9 years, 2 or 3 days of school is pretty good. He's pure blood, which means he's taken no medications, no vaccinations, and so a rare breed in many ways.
Yeah.
And he has all day energy. He's very positive and upbeat. He's got a great composure. We always get compliments from his teachers and his coaches. He plays basketball. They can always distinguish him from all the other students because of his exceptional mannerisms. And so it's just been wonderful. We only have one child, so it's an N of one study at this point. But okay. The people that know us personally and get to meet our son and meet us individually, they're very inspired. They're inspired by the work that we do, the message we put out there, and they're always curious and want to know more. And it really shines through now as I'm, approaching 47. I'll be 47 in a month. Thank you. And I feel, 17, right? I feel better now than I did as a teenager, because I didn't know what I was doing back then, right? I was given this gift of this amazing body by my parents, but nobody taught them how to take care of it, right? And nobody prepared them for the shift in the environment, right? It used to be that you didn't really have to think about being healthy, right? I see squirrels in my backyard. They're not thinking about being healthy. They're not thinking about their mitochondria and their vitamin D levels and all that other stuff. They just be like squirrels, right? And they live, they live and eat in a natural environment and eat the foods that are species specific. So we as human beings have gone way off the rails in terms of our environments, in terms of our foods, in terms of like what we expose ourselves to. And removing ourselves from nature has been catastrophic in so many ways. So one other thing about my son is he goes to a Waldorf school. And the Waldorf school emphasizes spending time outside. It emphasizes creativity. It emphasizes art. He may not love it, but he has music through all 4 grades of high school, right? And usually most schools, you just take one music course and then it's not mandatory after that because it develops the brain in a different way. It creates a different type of capability and skill set. And my son is also a very exceptionally talented artist. So, someday I'll show you his artwork. Maybe I'll send you some pictures, but he is amazing at art. So naturally gifted in that regard. And I'm grateful that we get to celebrate that part of him. And I know that, being healthy, being able to focus unlocks his creativity so that he could create the masterpieces that he does.
And is he like a realistic painting or abstract painting? What does he do? Because
he can do anything. Yeah, like literally he can do anything. It's like he blows our minds every week. He'll find new mediums, he'll find new styles, and he'll experiment. There's a picture that I have of him that he used to draw a dog. He created a portrait of his friend's dog for his birthday. Wow. And he did it in alcohol markers. These are a special type of markers. And when I show it to people, they're completely blown away. They can't believe, at the time he was only 12 when he did it, that a 12-year-old in like 10 minutes created this amazing piece of art. So he gifted it to his friend, he framed it, and it was just wonderful to see like how talented he is and in so many different mediums. He loves everything. Like he gets into digital art now. He's into photorealistic art. He does graffiti art. He's kind of explored all kinds of different mediums and styles of art.
That's amazing. And again, it goes back to the health. He has the vitality, he has the focus, because right now, instead of draining your energy and your life in a tablet, you can focus for 10 minutes and actually draw something that's unique. Mm-hmm. I love that. No, yes. And that's the biggest legacy. Like, how can he be an example to more of his kids of his generation? Because eventually, as you said, like time flies right like this. And those will be the generation of people who are more aware and are able to understand health in a much more powerful manner. And as we want to start closing this, because I would ramp for 3 hours with you, because I love this topic. If we go back to breathing, because I think that would be one of the easiest way for people to enter this world, in terms of, okay, we are breathing all the time, but are we really breathing correctly? And my girlfriend recently has just started using your tape.
Oh, amazing.
where I met you. And she has felt that when she's able to have it covered correctly at night, she sleeps better and she even has some dreams. So could you share a little bit more of why should we take care so much about nasal breathing?
Yeah, great question. And I agree. I think we can talk for hours and not run out of things to say and share because there is so much to share. However, I like to start with simplicity. And I think one of the simplest things that we can do is tap into something that we call the compound effect. And the compound effect states that let's improve, if we improve 10 things 10%, that's going to be far more effective than trying to improve one thing 100%. So one of the things that we focus on with our clients, one of the many things where the compound effect applies is the breathing. So if we could improve somebody's awareness around their breath by 10%, that's going to create massive ripples in other areas of their health because our breath isn't just responsible for keeping us alive. It also physically assists our body. So every time we breathe, we take 23,000 breaths a day. Our diaphragm is moving up and down. Our lungs are expanding and collapsing, and that actually assists our heart in pumping blood. So the lungs work with the heart to pump blood. The heart gets all the credit. Like, the lungs aren't very sexy, right? The heart gets so much of the credit, but it's your cardiorespiratory system, your heart and your diaphragm and your lungs working together to pump that blood. The other thing that's beautiful about the breath is that with every breath we take, those 23,000 breaths, we also pump the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is our sewage system in our body, and the biggest lymph nodes in our body are underneath our diaphragm. Okay. What a beautiful place for God to put them, because in order for us to be alive, we have to breathe, right? But if somebody's taking short, shallow breaths every day, then guess what? Their heart has to work harder. The lymphatic system, their sewage system for their organs doesn't work as well. And this can lead to heart disease and cancer. Most cancers start when we can't process and get rid of waste, right? So that's why a lot of cancers start in the lymph nodes in our body. And so breathing assists in both of those things. What breathing also assists in is protecting our immune system. So we take 23,000 breaths, as I mentioned, and in so doing, we consume 30 pounds of air every day. So we actually consume more air in a day than food we would eat in a week.
Wow.
Than water that we would drink over the course of a few days. So our lungs actually interact with the outside environment more than any other organ in our body. And our lungs, just like our gut, has a microbiome. And so we want to be very conscious of what goes into our lungs. The quality of the air that we breathe makes a big difference. Now, if you ask any microbiologist, they'll tell you that the dirtiest part of your body is your mouth. And so breathing through our mouth, we're breathing in whatever the quality of the outside air is, we're making the air dirtier. And so now our lungs are like, dude, why is this dirty bacteria-laden air coming into the lungs? Because now my immune system has to be acting up, right? It has to respond, which takes energy, which makes us tired. So mouth breathing makes you tired because your immune system is constantly on high alert. And the quality of the breath that you're taking is compromised as well. When we breathe through our mouth, it dries out our saliva, and our saliva protects our teeth, and it changes the pH of our mouth, which creates the environment for bacteria to grow. And these same bacteria cause bad breath, and they also cause cavities. So the main reason for cavities is not sugar. The number one cause of cavities is mouth breathing.
Wow.
The number one cause of bad breath is mouth breathing, okay? And that keeps our body in a fight or flight state. So we never really feel calm and relaxed, so it can create low-grade anxiety. Breathing through our nose, on the other hand, perfects the air. It pressurizes it moisture regulates it temperature regulates it. We get 20% more oxygen when we breathe through our nose versus our mouth, and we also get 6 times more nitric oxide production. What also happens when we breathe through our nose is it slows down the air, okay? That's why it always feels a little bit harder to breathe through your nose compared to your mouth, because the air is slowing down and getting pressurized as it goes through the internal anatomy, the turbinates they're called. Those turbinates are lined with a mucosal membrane, which has erectile tissue in it, same erectile tissue that we find in the genitals of males and females. So our inside of our nose is very closely connected to our sexual organs, okay? And because of the tissue type. And that tissue type is releasing and producing something called nitric oxide. And nitric oxide helps with increasing blood flow, increasing circulation and healing, and decreasing blood pressure. So by simply breathing through our nose, we start to receive all these additional benefits. We have better moisture regulation, we have better temperature regulation, we have better immune regulation, we have a more calm nervous system, and we feel much more present and focused when we breathe through our nose versus breathing through our mouth. So these are some of the benefits of breathing through our nose. Now, about 50% of people habitually breathe through their mouth during the day, and about 66% of people habitually breathe through their mouth while they sleep. It's a little bit easier to tell if you're mouth breathing during the day. However, when people are mouth breathing at night, that's 8 straight hours of breathing through your mouth, which dries out your saliva. Mouth breathing is a diuretic, so it causes people to wake up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. Yeah. Even if they didn't drink any water. It makes them more prone to cavities, more prone to snoring, and they're less likely to dream and wake up refreshed because their body thought that they were running from a lion the whole time, right? And I'm exaggerating for effect, but when somebody is breathing like this, right, versus, right, that's going to be very different to our nervous system. And what's also important for us to mention for this conversation is that your breath is the direct access point to your nervous system, which means that, if I want to create a fight or flight response, I can do that, right? If I started breathing as if I was running, my blood pressure would go up, my heart rate would go up, blood would start going to my arms and legs, right? So there's ways that I can breathe that would create a response in my body. And the opposite is true. If I wanted to calm myself down, if I wanted to lower my blood pressure, if I wanted more blood flow going to my trunk organs, my digestive system, my liver, my kidneys, that can also happen by changing the way I breathe. Breathing slow, 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out, in and out through my nose with my tongue placed gently at the roof of my mouth. That's going to create a different biology and physiology inside of me, right? Biology stays the same, sorry. It's going to create a different physiology inside of me. My blood pressure is going to go down. Blood's going to start flowing to my neocortex where my creativity gets unlocked, right? My heart rate's going to go down. My immune system is going to start functioning better. My digestion is going to start functioning better simply by changing the way I breathe. So it becomes an access point, a direct access point for us to control our entire biological system. And so it's a beautiful, simple, and profoundly, effective way that can be measured, right? I can measure somebody's blood pressure and see it change. I can measure somebody's heart rate and see it change. And it's amazing what happens when people habitually change the way they breathe. So there's things that people can do like breath work and Wim Hof, and, I do, transformational breath work as well, called the elemental rhythm breathing experience. Amazing. However, how are people breathing when they're not doing those things? That's what I'm interested in, because that affects so much more of their health than they realize. And it sounds so simple, but that's what we're looking for, isn't it? Right? We're looking for something simple. Like if I said it's like super complicated, immediately people shut down. And if I say it's super simple, people shut down as well, right? But it's the zenith of sophistication and simplicity, and breath meets right there at the top and in the middle. So it's the thing that I've been looking for my whole life, to be perfectly honest. And when I started realizing how valuable learning how to breathe was, it became my mission to tell anyone and teach anyone who's willing to listen, because it's something that nobody really talks about. We associate breathing to meditation, or we might associate breathing to working out, but there's so much of life in between that nobody's talking about. And that's where I come in and I teach people how to become better at the thing that they do the most every single day.
Cool. It's been an amazing conversation, Sachin. Thank you so much. I'm definitely going to start using my tape again because I want those benefits. And yes, your mission is deep in my heart, because I know how powerful it is with a little training on yoga for a couple of years that I did, but just really feeling the power of just breath, just a small 10% change in multiple areas. And again, this is not something that an athlete or a sick person stops doing, and neither do we, like the people in the middle. So with that, I'm super grateful. I want to share to the group to the Send viewers, where can they find you and what are some of the offerings that you share to the world, so we can end it up there.
Yeah, certainly. Thanks, Astro. I think a great place for people to start is I've created a breathwork bundle, and they can go to www.breathworkwithsachin.com, and it'll give them a whole bunch of free tools and resources on how to breathe. If they're on that list, they'll get invitations to free transformational sessions that we host. And there's also a variety of guides that are in there that can be very helpful for them. And you can also follow me at the Sachin Patel on Instagram, or Sachin Patel DC on Facebook. And then, we also have another tool that we've created for those people interested in further improving their metabolic health, which is a morning routine for weight loss. So if somebody wants to tone up, lose some weight without doing tons of exercise and changing their diet, going to these foundational principles will be super helpful. And they can go to morningroutine.ca and get free access to that as well.
Amazing. We'll put that everything in the show notes. And with that, we're set. Hope to wish you well in everything when it comes to health, and can't wait to see more of your journey unfold.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Lots of love, and here's to health, happiness, and wholeness for all.
There we go. See you next time.